Chosen one, it's time to look beyond the surface of your life. Have you ever wondered why things feel like they're always working against you? Why every challenge seems insurmountable? The truth is, many of the struggles you faced were never as random as they seemed. There's a deeper force at play, a web of external pressures and societal conditioning that has shaped how you think, act, and respond. For years, you've been told who to be, what to believe, and how to behave. These invisible forces have been subtly influencing you, keeping you disconnected from your true purpose and your highest potential. But here's the thing, those forces are not invincible. And once you begin to recognize them, you'll realize just how much power you truly have. The life you're living isn't entirely your fault, but it is your responsibility to break free from these influences and claim the life that was always meant for you. From the moment we are born, we're taught certain beliefs and behaviors, whether by our families, schools, or society at large. These teachings shape who we become, often long before we have the chance to develop our own sense of identity. Society presents itself as a set of rules that must be followed to achieve success or happiness. But in reality, many of these rules are based on fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being different. We're told that security lies in conformity and that we must act and think in certain ways to fit in, to belong, to succeed. Over time, these fears begin to feel like wisdom, shaping our decisions, relationships, and how we approach life. Fear, disguised as protection, becomes a cage that keeps us stuck, hesitant to take risks or step outside of the conventional path. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that this is the way life has to be, but that belief is a lie, one that holds you back from fully embracing your purpose. The most dangerous part of this conditioning is how deeply ingrained it becomes. We carry these limiting beliefs as if they are our own, never questioning the source of our fears or why we hesitate to take bold actions. Society tells us that the path to success is linear, that growth happens in predictable stages, and that we must avoid failure at all costs. But what if this isn't true? What if the struggles, challenges, and obstacles that we face are not setbacks, but invitations to grow? What if those moments of discomfort, the ones that make us question everything, are actually signs that we are on the verge of a breakthrough? The system is designed to make you believe that growth must always come from a place of ease and comfort. But real growth comes from stepping outside the boundaries that society has set for you. It's time to reject the notion that safety and success come from staying within the lines. In this video, we are going to uncover the subtle forces that have been working behind the scenes, shaping your decisions and holding you back. You are not simply a passive recipient of life's events. Everything that you have faced up until now, the hardships, the challenges, the obstacles, has been influenced by hidden agendas that you might not even be aware of. The good news: once you recognize these forces, you will gain the power to reclaim control over your life. The shift from fear-based thinking to self-awareness and intentional action is the key to liberation. When you align with your inner truth and stop allowing external pressures to dictate your choices, the world around you will begin to transform. Through this process, you'll see that growth isn't about avoiding discomfort or following someone else's rules. It's about embracing your authentic self and trusting that your journey, though difficult at times, is leading you to exactly where you need to be. This video isn't just about understanding how you've been influenced. It's about showing you how to break free, how to stop reacting out of fear, and how to start creating the life you've always desired. The path to liberation is within you. When you choose to step into your full power and align with your inner truth, everything begins to change. The external pressures lose their grip on you, and you begin to see obstacles as stepping stones, not roadblocks. This journey is not easy, but it is worth every moment of effort. You are capable of far more than you realize, and it's time to start living like it. From the moment you enter this world, you are bombarded by messages, expectations, and pressures that subtly but profoundly shape the way you think and behave. These pressures don't come with bold declarations or obvious signs. They don't scream at you from the corners of your life. Instead, they quietly infiltrate your thoughts and decisions, often without your awareness. Society, family, and cultural expectations weave an intricate web that surrounds you from all directions. You may not even realize it, but the thoughts you consider your own might have been planted there long ago by those around you. Take a moment to reflect on the foundation upon which your beliefs were built. Did you choose to hold certain beliefs, or were they handed to you by your parents, teachers, or the media you consumed as a child? Society has a way of telling us how to live, what to value, and even what to fear. These external pressures come in many forms, whether it's the expectation to conform to a particular career path, the relentless pursuit of material success, or the adherence to social norms that prevent you from stepping outside the lines of what is deemed acceptable. In the past, you might have adhered to these norms without ever questioning why they existed or whether they aligned with your true desires. But here's the truth. The world you live in is not a random series of events. It is carefully constructed by a combination of societal expectations, family dynamics, and cultural pressures that have shaped your worldview. These influences are so ingrained that they often feel like truths, even when they limit your potential. When you were younger, maybe the expectations of others were easier to follow. But as you grew, as your experiences began to expand, and you started to see the world with new eyes, those same pressures began to feel like invisible chains holding you in place. The choices you made, the paths you followed, the way you measured success, these weren't just yours. They were shaped by the forces around you, steering you in directions that didn't necessarily align with your inner truth. They created a false sense of security, a belief that if you stayed within these boundaries, you would be safe, accepted, and successful. But deep down, you felt an unease, a nagging sense that something was off. These external influences, although well-meaning in many cases, were not guiding you toward the life you were truly meant to live. They created obstacles disguised as opportunities, steering you toward a path that wasn't your own. The most pervasive and insidious of these influences is fear. Fear is so deeply embedded in the fabric of society that it is often taught as a form of wisdom, a protective mechanism designed to shield you from harm. Fear, however, is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can keep you safe in dangerous situations. But on the other hand, when fear becomes ingrained in your thinking, it can prevent you from stepping into your full potential. Society often teaches you that fear is a natural and wise response to uncertainty, encouraging you to stay within the boundaries of the familiar, even when that familiarity no longer serves you. Fear keeps you in your comfort zone, where nothing changes and nothing grows. The most dangerous aspect of fear is that it is often disguised as wisdom. We are told that fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown are all protective mechanisms that help us avoid mistakes. These fears become woven into the fabric of our decision-making process, convincing us that they are there to help us. But in reality, they are limiting our ability to live authentically. Fear of judgment, for example, can prevent you from speaking your truth, expressing your creativity, or pursuing your dreams. Fear of failure can keep you from taking the risks necessary for growth. And fear of the unknown can paralyze you from ever stepping into the unknown opportunities that await you. The more we listen to fear, the more disconnected we become from our authentic selves. Instead of living based on our true desires and aspirations, we begin to live in reaction to what we are afraid of. We start to make decisions based on what will keep us safe, comfortable, and accepted, rather than on what will help us grow and fulfill our purpose. Fear becomes a wall between you and the life you are meant to lead, subtly guiding your decisions in ways that don't reflect your true potential. But then something changes. You begin to question everything. You start to wonder, why am I living this way? Why am I allowing these external influences to dictate my choices? This is the pivotal moment, the shift to self-awareness. It's when you start to recognize that the life you've been living is not entirely your own, and you realize that you have the power to change it. For many, this shift comes after a series of wake-up calls, a moment of realization, when the weight of external pressures becomes too much to bear. It might be the first time you decide to speak your truth in a room full of people who disagree. It might be the moment you decide to leave a job that doesn't fulfill you, or walk away from a relationship that no longer serves your growth. This is the beginnings of your journey toward alignment with your authentic self. It's a choice, a conscious decision to step beyond the fear and limitations that have held you back and embrace the uncertainty of change. When you become self-aware, you begin to see the ways in which societal expectations and fears have shaped your decisions. You start to understand that the path you've been walking wasn't the only one available to you. It was simply the one that you had been conditioned to follow. As you peel away the layers of external influence, you begin to uncover your true desires, your real passions, and the life that has always been waiting for you. This moment of self-awareness is both liberating and terrifying. It's liberating because it opens up a world of possibilities that were previously hidden from you. But it's also terrifying because it forces you to confront the reality that you've been living in a way that doesn't align with your true self. You must let go of the comfort of familiarity and step into the unknown, where growth and transformation await. But with that decision comes immense power, the power to change the course of your life, to design the life you've always dreamed of, and to become the person you were always meant to be. As you continue on this journey of self-awareness, you'll notice that your life begins to change. The obstacles that once felt insurmountable start to feel like opportunities for growth. Resistance, instead of holding you back, becomes a redirection toward a better path. The confusion and uncertainty you once felt begin to be replaced by clarity and purpose. This is how growth works. When you shift your mindset and align with your inner truth, your external reality begins to reflect that change. The more you embrace your authentic self, the more the world around you aligns with your desires. The key to this transformation lies in understanding that life is not something that happens to you. It is something you actively create. As you let go of the fear and external pressures that once held you back, you gain the clarity and confidence to make choices that align with your true purpose. What once felt impossible now feels within reach, and the opportunities that once seemed out of your grasp begin to appear before you. The more you trust yourself and live authentically, the more life responds in kind. You are no longer reacting to external pressures. You are consciously creating the life you want. Growth and change don't happen overnight, but as you continue on this path, you'll see that the small shifts you make each day accumulate into profound transformation. The fears that once held you captive lose their grip, and you begin to move through life with grace and confidence. Your challenges become stepping stones. Your setbacks become lessons, and your failures become the foundation for future success. The more you embrace your true self, the more the world around you begins to mirror that authenticity. The external influences lose their power, and you step into a life of freedom, alignment, and purpose. This is the power of self-awareness. This is the power of aligning with your truth. And this is the power you've always had within you. The influence of external pressures doesn't stop once you've entered adulthood. In fact, these subtle influences only intensify as you move through different stages of life. The expectations of others begin to feel more pronounced as you navigate your career relationships and your place in society. These pressures may come from different sources. Family members pushing you to follow a certain career path. Friends suggesting you should settle down by a certain age, or society subtly enforcing norms about beauty, wealth, and success. The voices of these external forces can become deafening, clouding your sense of self and making it harder to hear your own inner voice. But what is important to realize is that these external pressures, though influential, are not always aligned with your authentic truth. Society often teaches us that success equals conformity and that safety lies in playing by the rules. But what if the rules you've been following are not your own? What if those expectations were not designed for your unique gifts, your true passions, and your personal journey? The key to recognizing these influences is to take a step back and start questioning them. Why do you feel pressured to follow the same path as everyone else? Why are certain choices causing you anxiety or confusion? In these moments of self-inquiry, you begin to recognize how these invisible pressures have shaped your decisions, often without your conscious consent. The power in recognizing these influences lies in the ability to consciously choose whether or not to continue following them. These pressures don't have to define your path. They only have the power you give them. When you begin to see these external influences for what they are, societal constructs designed to keep you in line with a narrow vision of success, you can begin to loosen their hold on your life. You are no longer bound by the fear of judgment, the pressure to fit in, or the need to conform. By shedding the layers of external influence, you can start to reveal the person you were always meant to be. At the heart of most of these external pressures is fear. Fear is a powerful force, and it has been deeply embedded in the fabric of our lives, often disguised as wisdom or protection. Think about the last time you felt held back by fear. It might have been the fear of judgment, of failing, or of stepping into the unknown. These fears are not inherently bad. They are there for a reason. They evolved to protect us, to keep us safe from real dangers. However, in the modern world, many of these fears have become outdated. They no longer serve us in the same way they did when we were physically threatened by predators or dangerous environments. Today, fear manifests differently. It may show up as the fear of not meeting societal expectations, the fear of making a mistake in front of others, or the fear of rejection. But when we react to fear by avoiding risk or staying small, we are in essence allowing fear to dictate our lives. Fear is teaching us to play it safe, to stick to the familiar, and to avoid anything that could lead to discomfort or failure. But here's the truth. Fear, when left unchecked, can keep you stuck in patterns that don't align with your true potential. Fear whispers to you that you are not ready, that you are not enough, and that you should wait until everything is perfect before taking action. Fear encourages procrastination, self-doubt, and hesitation. The real danger lies in allowing fear to be your guiding force. Fear can act as a shield, but it can also be a prison. When you allow it to dictate your choices, you remain in a state of inertia, unable to move forward toward your true desires. It is only when you recognize fear for what it is, a natural but not all-powerful emotion, that you can begin to take control of it. Fear does not need to be eliminated. Rather, it needs to be understood and used as a tool for growth. When you stop reacting to fear with avoidance, but instead approach it with curiosity and a willingness to confront it, that's when transformation begins. Fear becomes a guide, pointing you toward areas where growth is possible, rather than an obstacle that stops you in your tracks. The shift to self-awareness often starts with a moment of dissatisfaction, confusion, or frustration, a moment when you realize that something just doesn't feel right. You begin to ask yourself the important questions. Why am I living this way? Why do I feel stuck? What am I truly afraid of? It's in this moment that the seed of self-awareness is planted. You start to become aware of the patterns that have been running your life, the unconscious choices you've been making, and the beliefs you've been holding on to without ever questioning them. Self-awareness is the ability to look at your thoughts, emotions, and actions from an objective standpoint and recognize where they're coming from. It's about identifying the underlying motivations behind your choices and recognizing the external influences that have shaped them. This process of self-inquiry is not always easy. It requires honesty and a willingness to confront the parts of yourself that you may have been avoiding. It may require letting go of beliefs or behaviors that once served you but are no longer aligned with your current growth. But this shift is powerful. As you begin to question the status quo, you start to peel back the layers of societal conditioning and family expectations that have been holding you back. You begin to recognize that the way you've been living, while it may have been comfortable, is not the only way to live. There are infinite paths available to you, and the more you align with your inner truth, the more these paths begin to reveal themselves. The discomfort you feel in questioning your past beliefs is merely the birth pangs of a new version of yourself, one that is more authentic, more empowered, and more aligned with your true purpose. This shift is what allows you to begin rewriting your story. You are no longer a passive participant in your own life. You are an active creator. You begin to see that you don't have to keep playing the roles others have assigned to you. You don't have to keep living the life that others have laid out for you. Instead, you can start to define who you are and what you want for yourself. This is the power of self-awareness, the realization that you have the ability to change your life by first changing how you perceive yourself and the world around you. As you deepen your self-awareness, you will begin to see that growth is not an event, but a process, a continuous unfolding. Each layer of understanding, each moment of clarity, propels you further along the path to transformation. As your mindset shifts, your external reality begins to change as well. You start to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, not as roadblocks that are designed to keep you stuck. Resistance transforms into redirection, guiding you toward paths that are more aligned with your authentic self. Change doesn't happen overnight, but as you take each step toward embracing your true self, you will notice that the world around you begins to shift. The things that once seemed difficult or out of reach suddenly become attainable. The fear that once held you back from taking action starts to fade as you realize that your growth is not about avoiding discomfort, but about stepping into it with courage and confidence. The more you align with your truth, the more life responds to you. Opportunities start to flow in ways that they never did before. Challenges become easier to navigate, and the doubts that once plagued your mind lose their grip on your actions. With each new step, you gain momentum. The more you embrace growth, the more you recognize that change is not something to fear, it's something to welcome. By cultivating self-awareness and shifting your mindset, you reclaim the power that has always been within you. No longer will external pressures dictate your life. No longer will fear hold you back. You are the creator of your destiny, and the world around you is waiting to align with the person you are becoming. We live in a world where most of us navigate through life under the influence of unseen forces. These forces, often invisible to the naked eye, dictate our thoughts, shape our actions, and guide our decisions in ways that we might not even realize. Society has its set of rules unwritten, yet deeply ingrained, that govern how we should live, behave, and think. These rules often dictate what success looks like, what relationships we should have, how we should present ourselves, and even what our desires should be. But how many of these rules are truly your own? How many of them are the result of societal conditioning? Take a moment and reflect on the way you have lived so far. How much of it was driven by your own authentic desires, and how much was shaped by external expectations? These invisible pressures are often so deeply woven into the fabric of our lives that they become the lens through which we view the world. They come in many forms: cultural norms, societal expectations, family values, and even deeply rooted beliefs about success, happiness, and worthiness. While they might seem harmless or even natural, they can create invisible boundaries that limit your ability to grow and fully express yourself. At a young age, you are often taught to conform to the rules of society, whether it's getting good grades, excelling in a career, or living up to certain beauty standards. Over time, these pressures build, and you start to believe that these societal constructs are the only way to achieve happiness and fulfillment. But the truth is, many of these pressures are designed to fit a narrow vision of success, a vision that doesn't take into account your unique gifts, talents, or desires. The way society teaches you to live, though seemingly logical, often fails to recognize the full extent of your potential. It doesn't allow you to fully embrace who you are because it is too busy fitting you into predefined molds. What's important to realize is that these pressures don't define who you are or what you can achieve. You are more than the sum of these influences. You are more than the expectations that others place upon you. These pressures may have shaped your past, but they do not have to shape your future. Once you begin to recognize how these unseen forces have influenced your decisions and perceptions, you can begin to break free from them and step into a life that reflects your true self. The first step to liberation lies in recognizing these hidden influences. Awareness is the key to reclaiming your power and taking back control over your decisions. Without awareness, you may continue to unconsciously follow the patterns set by society or your upbringing, living a life that doesn't align with your true purpose. It is only when you shine a light on these unseen pressures that you can begin to see them for what they are: patterns of thought and behavior that were never your own to begin with. Imagine a bird flying in a cage. It doesn't know that the door is open. It has spent so much time in the cage, it believes that the bars are the boundaries of its existence. But the truth is, the door has always been open. It was just a matter of the bird realizing it could fly beyond the bars. The same is true for you. The pressures, beliefs, and patterns that have kept you in a state of complacency or limitation were never permanent. They were simply invisible walls that you were conditioned to accept. By becoming aware of these walls, you can open the door to a new way of living, a way that is true to your authentic self. Self-awareness is like the key that unlocks the door to your freedom. Once you realize how these forces have shaped your life, you can start to question them. You begin to ask yourself, is this what I truly believe? Is this what I truly want? The more you ask these questions, the more you begin to uncover the truths that have been buried beneath years of conditioning. And as you peel away these layers, you begin to reclaim your power, the power to make choices that are in alignment with your authentic self, not the version of yourself that was molded by society's expectations. As you start this journey of self-awareness, you may also uncover something else lurking beneath the surface: self-sabotage. It's a sneaky, insidious force that holds you back from reaching your full potential, and it often comes in the form of procrastination, doubt, or hesitation. You may find yourself repeatedly starting things, but never finishing them, or you may struggle with deep feelings of unworthiness that prevent you from taking action. These patterns of self-sabotage don't come from nowhere. They are often the result of old beliefs, fears, and insecurities that have been ingrained in you for years. One of the most common reasons people self-sabotage is because they are afraid of success. At some level, they believe they are not deserving of success, or that success will bring more pressure, judgment, or responsibility than they are ready to handle. It's as if part of you is pushing forward toward your goals, while another part of you is holding you back, afraid of the consequences of truly stepping into your power. This internal conflict is often the result of subconscious beliefs that you are not good enough, not smart enough, or not worthy of achieving your dreams. Another form of self-sabotage comes in the form of procrastination. When you delay taking action on your dreams, you are essentially avoiding the fear and uncertainty that come with change. Procrastination is a defense mechanism, an unconscious way of keeping yourself safe from the discomfort of growth. But what you don't realize is that by putting off taking action, you are also putting off the life you truly want to live. Every moment you spend procrastinating is a moment you are not fully embracing your potential. It is only by recognizing this pattern and addressing the underlying fears that you can break free from the cycle of self-sabotage. The key to breaking free from self-sabotage and the influence of hidden pressures is conscious action. It's not enough to just recognize these patterns. You must actively choose to take a different path. It starts with small steps, with deliberately making choices that align with your true self. It's about taking action despite the fear and resistance that may arise. It's about being willing to step into the unknown and face the discomfort of growth, knowing that each step you take is bringing you closer to the life you were always meant to live. Taking conscious action begins with one simple choice to stop living on autopilot. Begin by paying attention to the decisions you make, the thoughts that cross your mind, and the feelings that arise in your body. When you notice yourself hesitating or feeling doubt, ask yourself why. What is the source of this fear? Is it a belief that was planted in you by society, family, or past experiences? When you can identify the source of your fear or hesitation, you can begin to challenge it. Next, take small steps toward the life you want to create. Break your goals down into manageable tasks and focus on one thing at a time. Every action, no matter how small, is a step toward breaking free from the influence of hidden agendas. When you consciously choose to take action aligned with your purpose, you create momentum. Over time, that momentum will build, and the once overwhelming challenges will become easier to face. Self-compassion is also key in this process. Be kind to yourself as you work through the discomfort of change. Recognize that breaking free from old patterns takes time and effort, but it is absolutely worth it. Each step you take, no matter how imperfect, brings you closer to living the life you were meant to live. By taking conscious action, you not only reclaim your personal power, but you also begin to build a life that reflects who you truly are. No longer will you be a passive participant in your own story. You are the author, the creator, and the guide. With each intentional choice, you step further into the life of purpose, alignment, and fulfillment that has always been waiting for you. As you move forward, remember that awareness and action are the twin forces that will propel you to greatness. When you become aware of the hidden influences around you and consciously choose to act in alignment with your true self, you open the door to endless possibilities. This is your moment to break free, to rise above the limitations of the past, and to step into the fullness of your potential. The power to shape your future is in your hands. Now it's time to take action. These unseen pressures can often be so pervasive that they become part of the very fabric of your identity. They shape your perception of what is possible and dictate the choices you make, even when those choices do not align with your true self. Think about the way the world tells you to define success through titles, possessions, and status. Have you ever questioned why you're chasing these things? Are they truly your desires, or are they the manifestation of external pressures you've internalized over the years? For example, consider the pressure to keep up with societal standards of beauty achievement or financial success. These are often presented as the ultimate measures of self-worth, but they are arbitrary constructs created by a society that thrives on conformity and comparison. These ideals often come at a high personal cost, and they can easily derail you from your own path. The constant barrage of advertisements, social media influences, and societal messaging can make it seem like there's a single prescribed route to fulfillment, one that is often out of reach or completely misaligned with your authentic desires. The truth is, societal expectations limit your capacity to explore the full spectrum of your potential. They narrow your focus to predefined outcomes, often disregarding your own intuition and inner knowing. When you begin to recognize these pressures, you open the door to a deeper understanding of who you are and what you truly want. You start to see how these external influences are not your truth, and you can choose to break free from them, allowing your true purpose to emerge. By questioning and rejecting the societal molds that have been imposed on you, you create space for a life that is based on your own values and aspirations, not those of others. The first step toward liberation is awareness. This is the pivotal moment when you acknowledge that much of your life has been shaped by influences that were never your own. Without this awareness, it's easy to live in autopilot, responding to life's challenges and opportunities based on inherited beliefs, unconscious habits, and unexamined fears. But once you realize that these influences are not truths, but simply external constructs, you can begin to regain control over your decisions. Self-awareness is the light that allows you to see the true nature of your thoughts, actions, and patterns. It is the ability to step back and observe your behavior without judgment, and to understand where those behaviors come from. For example, do you often find yourself making decisions based on what others expect of you, even when those decisions don't align with your authentic self? Are you more focused on approval from others than your own internal satisfaction? Recognizing these patterns is the first step in breaking free from the chains of external expectation. Becoming aware of the hidden pressures in your life is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Suddenly, everything becomes clearer. You can see where you've been guided by forces outside of your control and begin to examine what is truly driving you. This awareness is not about blame. It is about understanding. You may discover that many of the beliefs or behaviors you adopted were once necessary for survival, but they no longer serve you. They are simply outdated coping mechanisms. When you embrace this awareness, you gain the freedom to make choices from a place of intention rather than reaction. You become the author of your own story rather than a passive participant. Awareness gives you the ability to ask, what do I truly want? What aligns with my soul's purpose? And most importantly, what can I release in order to move forward freely? These questions are the gateway to your liberation. And once you begin asking them, you will find yourself stepping into a new chapter 1 that is guided by your authentic truth. Self-sabotage often emerges from the tension between who we truly are and who we have been conditioned to be. The fears and doubts instilled by society, family, and past experiences can create inner conflict that manifests as procrastination, self-doubt, or even outright avoidance of opportunities. These patterns of self-sabotage stem from the deep-seated belief that we are not worthy of success, love, or fulfillment. They are often fueled by an underlying fear of failure, rejection, or judgment. Consider the last time you were on the cusp of taking a bold action. Maybe you had a career opportunity, a personal relationship to deepen, or a dream you wanted to pursue. How many times did you hesitate? How many times did fear whisper, "You're not ready, you'll fail, this isn't for you"? These are the voices of self-sabotage voices that often emerge from old patterns, beliefs, and unresolved fears. Self-sabotage is an unconscious attempt to protect yourself from the pain of failure or rejection. But in doing so, you end up perpetuating the cycle of stagnation, never fully stepping into the life you are capable of creating. The good news is that self-sabotage is not a permanent condition. It's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. But breaking free from these destructive behaviors requires a deep level of introspection and a willingness to confront the beliefs that are fueling them. Often, these beliefs are rooted in past experiences, childhood lessons, failed attempts at success, or messages you received from others about what you could or couldn't achieve. By recognizing these old beliefs, you can begin to disarm them, replacing them with new, empowering thoughts that align with your authentic self. One of the most common forms of self-sabotage is procrastination. When faced with a daunting task or opportunity, the fear of failure often makes us put it off, telling ourselves that we'll do it later or we're not ready yet. But in reality, procrastination is a form of avoidance. It's a defense mechanism that protects you from facing the discomfort of growth. The key to overcoming procrastination is to take the first step, no matter how small. Acknowledge that the fear and doubt will always be there to some extent, but don't let them stop you from taking action. Each small step you take will reduce the power of these self-sabotaging behaviors and give you the confidence to keep moving forward. The most powerful tool in overcoming self-sabotage and hidden influences is conscious action. Once you've developed awareness of the forces at play in your life, and once you've identified the patterns of self-sabotage that have been holding you back, the next step is to take deliberate, purposeful action. This is where the real transformation happens, not just in understanding, but in doing. Conscious action is about choosing to move forward despite the fears, doubts, and uncertainties that may arise. It's about making decisions with intention rather than reacting to old patterns or external pressures. It's about recognizing that the discomfort you feel when you step outside of your comfort zone is a sign of growth, not danger. Growth is always accompanied by discomfort, but it is through this discomfort that you will transform. Start by breaking down your goals into small, manageable steps. It's easy to become overwhelmed when you look at the bigger picture, but the key to progress is focusing on one action at a time. Each small action you take builds momentum and brings you closer to your desired outcome. Even if you feel fear or uncertainty, take that first step anyway. The most successful people are not those who have no fear. They are the ones who take action despite their fear. Remember, the most important thing is consistency. Commit to taking action every day, no matter how small, and you will begin to see the results of your efforts. As you move forward, you'll notice that the invisible forces that once held you back start to lose their grip on you. You'll also find that the more you take action from a place of self-awareness and authenticity, the more the universe begins to align with your intentions. Opportunities you once thought were out of reach will start to show up, and the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable will become stepping stones to your success. Taking conscious action is not about perfection. It's about intention. It's about aligning your choices with your authentic self and trusting that each step forward is bringing you closer to the life you were meant to live. It's about reclaiming your power and stepping into the fullness of your potential. Every moment of action is a declaration that you are no longer a passive participant in your life. You are the creator, the author of your journey, and the time to take action is now. There comes a moment in every journey when the call to authenticity grows too loud to ignore. It whispers to you in the quiet moments, in the stillness of your thoughts. It pulls at you when you feel disconnected from who you truly are, and when the expectations of others weigh heavy on your soul. Choosing to live authentically means choosing yourself, choosing the path that aligns with your values, your desires, and your unique purpose in this world. It's not about rebellion for the sake of rebellion, but about choosing to honor the truth within you, regardless of the noise around you. For years, many of us have been taught that our worth comes from fulfilling certain roles or following a specific path. We are told what success looks like, what happiness should feel like, and what life should be. But in reality, these definitions are often shaped by societal expectations, not by our individual truths. The world has a way of molding us to fit a box, one that is comfortable for others but stifles our creativity, our individuality, and our deeper desires. The more we adhere to these expectations, the further we drift from the person we were meant to be. Living authentically means acknowledging that you don't need to fit into anyone else's version of success. You don't need to follow a prescribed path to prove your worth or to live a meaningful life. You get to define your own success, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It's about trusting yourself enough to follow your own unique journey, even when it feels uncertain or different from what others expect of you. When you choose authenticity, you free yourself from the chains of comparison. You stop measuring your worth by how you stack up against others, and instead, you start valuing your uniqueness. You stop apologizing for being different and start embracing the power that comes from being yourself. And in doing so, you begin to attract opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are in alignment with who you truly are. When you choose authenticity, you step into the flow of your own life's energy, and everything starts to feel more in harmony. The journey toward living authentically requires courage, the courage to question long-held beliefs and assumptions. For most of us, the beliefs we hold are not entirely our own. They are passed down from our families, society, culture, and experiences. These beliefs shape the way we view the world and our place within it. But many of these beliefs are not truths. They are simply stories we've been taught to accept. And here's the secret. Once you have the courage to question these beliefs, you open the door to transformation. Think about some of the most influential figures in history. Individuals who changed the course of the world. People like Martin Luther King, Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, and Marie Curie didn't succeed because they followed the norms or the expectations of society. In fact, they achieved greatness precisely because they dared to question the status quo. They saw a world that wasn't aligned with their vision of truth, justice, or progress, and instead of accepting it, they chose to challenge it. Dr. King challenged the oppressive racial systems of his time with a dream of equality and justice for all, even when it meant going against the prevailing social order. Gandhi led a non-violent revolution against British colonial rule in India, despite being told that such a movement was impossible. Marie Curie, a woman in the male-dominated world of science, defied societal norms and became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize for her pioneering research in radioactivity. These figures succeeded not by adhering to the world's expectations, but by stepping into their own truth and vision, no matter how difficult or unconventional that path seemed. In your own life, the courage to question long-held beliefs can create profound transformation. Whether it's challenging the limiting beliefs that you were raised with, or questioning the societal norms that you've unconsciously adopted, it is only when you begin to ask, "Why do I believe this?" that you can free yourself from the constraints of outdated paradigms. When you allow yourself to question, you give yourself the permission to change, to evolve, and to redefine what's possible for you. This process is not always easy. It requires vulnerability and openness, as well as the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. It may mean unlearning habits, changing your perspective, or stepping into uncharted territory. But the rewards are beyond measure. By questioning long-held beliefs, you begin to shed the layers of conditioning that have held you back, and you create space for new ideas, new opportunities, and new ways of being. Empowerment begins with self-awareness. The more aware you are of who you truly are, the more you can align your actions with your purpose. Self-awareness is the foundation upon which all personal growth is built. It's about taking the time to truly understand your desires, your values, and your motivations. It's about being brutally honest with yourself about the patterns, habits, and beliefs that have shaped your life thus far. When you become self-aware, you step into the driver's seat of your own life. No longer will you be carried along by the whims of external pressures or unconscious programming. Instead, you begin to make empowered choices that reflect your true desires and intentions. You no longer let fear or doubt dictate your decisions. Instead, you act with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Self-awareness is about more than just understanding your feelings and actions. It's about taking responsibility for them. It's about recognizing the role you've played in shaping your life and acknowledging that you have the power to change your circumstances. When you recognize that you are the author of your own story, you gain the power to rewrite it. As you continue to develop self-awareness, you will begin to notice patterns in your life that no longer serve you, habits, beliefs, and behaviors that were once helpful but are now holding you back. These realizations are not something to be ashamed of. Instead, they are an invitation to grow, to evolve, and to step into your full potential. Self-awareness is also the key to understanding how to align your actions with your values. It helps you to stop reacting impulsively and to start responding intentionally. You learn to ask yourself, does this decision align with who I am and who I want to become? With this mindset, your life becomes an ongoing process of conscious creation. You no longer live on autopilot. You begin to actively shape your future by aligning your choices with your deepest truth. Courage is the force that transforms potential into reality. It is the fire that fuels your ability to move through obstacles, break free from limiting beliefs, and take bold action toward your dreams. Without courage, you may remain trapped in fear, unable to take the necessary steps toward growth. But with courage, you can face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and step into the fullness of your power. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act in spite of fear. The most courageous individuals are not those who have no doubts or insecurities. They are the ones who choose to take action regardless of them. Courage is what allows you to step into the unknown, to face discomfort, and to move forward even when the path is unclear. It's what enables you to take the first step, even when you don't have all the answers, because you trust that the journey will unfold as you go. Think of the times in your life when you faced challenges that seemed insurmountable. It could have been a personal setback, a professional obstacle, or a moment when you had to make a difficult decision. In those moments, it was courage that carried you through. Courage allows you to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, rather than barriers that stop you in your tracks. It enables you to take risks, to try new things, and to learn from failure without being defeated by it. By embracing courage, you learn to transform fear into fuel. Each challenge you face becomes a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. When you face your fears head-on and act with determination, you begin to see that your greatest growth comes not from avoiding challenges, but from embracing them. The more you cultivate courage, the more you will discover your true strength. In the face of uncertainty, courage becomes your ally, guiding you toward a life that is rich with meaning, growth, and fulfillment. Every step you take in courage brings you closer to your true self and the life you were meant to lead. It is through courage that you transform challenges into opportunities and move forward with grace and authenticity. By choosing to live authentically, by questioning the beliefs that no longer serve you, and by embracing your personal power with self-awareness and courage, you begin to create your own path. This path is uniquely yours, and it is filled with infinite possibilities. The power to shape your life lies within you, and it's time to step fully into that power. Your mindset holds the key to unlocking your fullest potential. It's the lens through which you view the world, the filter that shapes how you respond to life's challenges, and the foundation upon which your reality is built. The power of mindset is often underestimated, yet it is the driving force behind every change you wish to see in your life. When you shift your perspective, you shift the entire course of your life. Obstacles once seen as insurmountable begin to take on new meanings, and what once seemed like resistance transforms into redirection. When you choose to adopt a growth mindset, you open yourself to an entirely new world of possibilities. Instead of seeing challenges as threats or failures, you begin to see them as opportunities for learning and growth. Each obstacle becomes a stepping stone that leads you closer to your true self and your purpose. This shift is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending that everything is easy. It's about recognizing that every setback is an opportunity to refine your skills, gain wisdom, and prepare for greater success. A growth mindset helps you reframe failure. Rather than seeing it as something to avoid, you start to view it as a valuable teacher. Every mistake, every misstep is part of the journey toward mastery. When you embrace this mindset, you stop seeing life's difficulties as signs that something is wrong with you. Instead, you see them as part of the process that leads to deeper understanding and eventual success. For example, think about a time in your life when things didn't go according to plan. Maybe you applied for a job and didn't get it. Or maybe a business venture didn't pan out as expected. In those moments, the natural instinct is to feel defeated or discouraged. But what if instead you looked at those moments as crucial lessons? What if instead of allowing disappointment to take hold, you asked, "What can I learn from this? How can this experience make me better, wiser, and more prepared for the next opportunity?" This shift in perspective is a powerful tool for transformation. When you begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth, you naturally step into a higher state of awareness. You begin to understand that you are not the victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your reality. You have the ability to transform any situation, no matter how difficult, into something that contributes to your growth. By changing your mindset, you align yourself with the natural flow of life, and everything begins to move more effortlessly. One of the most profound shifts that can take place when you embrace a growth mindset is the way you perceive fear. Fear is a natural and powerful emotion, but when viewed through the lens of limitation, it can paralyze you, preventing you from taking action and pursuing your dreams. In fact, fear has often been the greatest barrier to personal growth. But when you shift your perspective, fear no longer becomes something to avoid, it becomes a teacher. Rather than seeing fear as something that holds you back, you begin to understand that fear is a signal, a guidepost on your path that shows you where growth is needed. Fear arises when you are on the brink of something new, something unfamiliar. It's a natural response to stepping outside your comfort zone and embracing the unknown. When you stop viewing fear as a wall and start seeing it as a doorway, your entire relationship with it changes. Fear becomes a companion, a reminder that you are on the verge of something important. Every time you feel fear, you can ask yourself, what is this fear trying to tell me? What am I being called to face? Instead of running from fear, you walk toward it knowing that it's there to help you grow. Each time you face your fears with courage, you gain a little more strength, resilience, and clarity. Fear no longer holds you hostage. Instead, it becomes a tool for personal development. For example, think about the last time you felt afraid to take a leap. Maybe you were about to speak in public, apply for a new job, or start a new project. The instinct might have been to hesitate or avoid it altogether. But what if instead you leaned into that fear? What if you told yourself, this fear means I'm growing. It means I'm stretching beyond my current limits. And on the other side of this, fear, lies something amazing. Reframing fear in this way transforms it from a barrier into a bridge, one that leads you toward greater growth, success, and fulfillment. When you shift your mindset to view fear as a guide, you take the power away from it. Fear no longer controls you. It becomes a signal that you are on the right path, moving towards something greater. Every time you face your fears with intention and courage, you reclaim more of your power and move closer to the life you are meant to live. At the core of every transformational journey lies purpose. Purpose is the driving force behind everything you do. It's the compass that guides you, the fuel that keeps you moving forward, and the source of meaning in your life. When you align your thoughts, actions, and values with your purpose, life begins to flow in a harmonious rhythm. There is no longer a disconnect between what you do and who you are. Instead, every action you take, every decision you make, is rooted in a deep understanding of your unique mission in this world. Aligning with purpose is not always an easy task. Many people spend years, sometimes decades, searching for their purpose, unsure of where to begin. But the key to finding and aligning with your purpose lies in the quiet moments of self-reflection. It's about taking the time to listen to your heart, to trust your intuition, and to pay attention to the desires and dreams that have been planted within you. Your purpose isn't something that someone else can give you. It is something that resides within you, waiting to be discovered. When you align your life with your purpose, everything changes. You begin to make decisions that reflect your deepest values, and those decisions lead you toward fulfillment. No longer will you waste time on things that don't serve you. You will stop following the crowd, chasing after things that don't align with your soul's calling. Instead, you will pursue the things that light you up, that make you feel alive, and that bring you joy. Aligning with your purpose creates a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. Your relationships, career health, and even your sense of peace are deeply impacted when you live in alignment with your true calling. Opportunities start to appear, and synchronicities unfold, bringing you closer to your goals. The more you align with purpose, the more the universe conspires to support you in your journey. It's easy to underestimate the power of small decisions. We often think that the big, bold choices are the ones that shape our lives, but the truth is that it's the small decisions made consciously and with intention that create the most profound shifts. Every choice you make, whether it's how you spend your time, who you surround yourself with, or how you respond to challenges, shapes the trajectory of your life. Each small action you take sends ripples out into the world, creating momentum that propels you forward. These decisions might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound to create massive transformation. Think about it. The decision to wake up 30 minutes earlier each day to work on your goals. The choice to speak up in a meeting when you would have otherwise stayed silent. The commitment to take care of your body, mind, and spirit, even when life gets busy. These small decisions are the seeds of your future. By making intentional choices every day, you begin to create momentum that carries you toward your goals. You start to build habits that align with your purpose, and each small step you take moves you closer to the life you envision. The key is consistency. It's not about making one big decision and expecting everything to change overnight. It's about showing up every day, making the conscious choice to align with your truth, and trusting that these small actions will eventually lead you to great things. As you continue to make conscious choices, you begin to notice the ripple effect they create. You begin to see how one small decision, like choosing to say no to something that doesn't serve you, can free up space for something more meaningful to enter your life. You realize that each action, no matter how small, is shaping your future. And with each choice, you are creating the life you want. In the end, the power of mindset, fear, reframing alignment with purpose, and the ripple effect of small choices all work together to transform your life. It's about making intentional decisions every day that align with who you are and who you are becoming. The journey is not about one big leap. It's about the steady, consistent steps that move you forward. And with each step, you come closer to the life you were always meant to live. As you reflect on this journey, you begin to see how transformative the act of awareness and alignment can truly be. Awareness is the first step toward breaking free from the unconscious patterns that have guided your life. Once you recognize the hidden forces at play, societal expectations, family pressures, outdated beliefs, you open the door to a new realm of possibilities. It's like peeling away layers that were never truly yours, layers that were put in place by forces outside your control. Once you are aware of these influences, you reclaim your power. You no longer live in reaction to the world around you. You start creating your own reality with conscious intention. Living authentically is not just about following a set of principles or making certain choices. It's about aligning yourself with your truest nature and allowing the full expression of who you are to emerge. This alignment, this deep connection with your inner truth, has the power to transform every aspect of your life. When you live authentically, you move through the world with confidence, clarity, and a sense of purpose that others can't help but notice. Your energy shifts, and so does your world, your relationships, your career, your health, and your sense of fulfillment all begin to align with the person you are meant to be. It's a life that flows with ease, even when challenges arise, because you're grounded in your truth. The obstacles you once faced are no longer barriers. They are opportunities for growth. The fear that once held you back now becomes a guide, helping you step into the life you were always meant to live. But this journey doesn't stop here. Recognizing these hidden influences and choosing to live authentically is just the beginning. As you move forward, you will continue to uncover new layers of yourself, and new opportunities will arise as you align even more deeply with your true self. You are on a path of constant evolution, and every decision you make from here on out will shape the person you are becoming. The power to create the life you desire has always been within you, and now with this newfound awareness, you can step boldly into that power. This is where your journey truly begins. Now that you have unlocked the awareness of your power, it's time to embrace the next steps. Each moment is an opportunity for growth, and each choice you make from this point forward will either move you closer to your dreams or push you further away. The beauty of this journey is that the power to shape your destiny lies in your hands. It is up to you to take the next step and to keep moving forward with courage and conviction. I invite you to continue your journey of self-discovery and empowerment. There is so much more for you to uncover, so much more for you to create. Each day brings a new opportunity to align your actions with your truth, to make intentional choices that lead you closer to the life you desire. So take a moment to reflect on what you've learned here today and commit to applying this knowledge in your life. Take action, make decisions, and stay aligned with your purpose. You have everything you need to succeed, and the world is waiting for you to step into your full potential. As you continue on your journey, I encourage you to share your experiences with us in the comments below. Let us know what insights you've gained, what challenges you faced, and how you plan to take action moving forward. We are all on this journey together, and sharing your story can inspire others to take the steps they need to live authentically as well. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Keep moving forward with intention and purpose, knowing that every step you take brings you closer to the life you were always meant to live. If you haven't already, please subscribe to stay connected on this journey. By subscribing, you're taking the first step towards staying aligned with your higher self and receiving more inspiration, guidance, and empowerment to help you grow. We are here to support you every step of the way, and together we will continue to explore the incredible power of awareness and authenticity. The most powerful realization you can make is that the life you want is within your reach, and it is entirely up to you to create it. Your thoughts, actions, and decisions are shaping the future you desire, and with each choice you make, You are carving the path to the life you envision. You are the architect of your own reality, and the foundation of that reality is built on awareness, authenticity, and intention. The forces that once held you back, the fears, the limiting beliefs, the external pressures, no longer have power over you. You have recognized them. You have shed their influence, and now you stand in your full power. The universe responds to those who live authentically. It opens doors for those who align with their truth and trust the process. So ask yourself, what do I truly desire? What is my purpose? And how can I align my actions to fulfill it? Every choice you make from now on is an opportunity to move closer to your dreams. Trust yourself, trust your intuition, and trust the process. Your destiny is yours to create, and the journey you are on will lead you to a life that is fulfilling, joyful, and true to who you are. Remember, the power to shape your own future lies within you. With every step you take toward authenticity, with every courageous choice you make, you are building the life you were always meant to live. The world is waiting for you to show up in your full power. Now is your time to step into that power and create the destiny you deserve. Keep moving forward and watch as your life transforms before your eyes. The journey is just beginning, and it is going to be incredible.